An honest review of eating gluten-free food on Virgin Voyages. I do have a vlog on my channel dedicated to the entire trip, so if you want to know more about the ship and our overall experience, watch that. Let's start at the start. Breakfast. If you want breakfast, the only place to be is the Galley. The Galley is Virgin's take on a sit-down buffet. So you'll choose your seat, whether it's indoors or outdoors. There are loads, and then a member of staff will come over and take your order. Having a waiter come over to take your order works really well if you're coeliac and have an allergy for gluten. The QR code menu should have gluten-free labelled anyway, but I did find a lot of things could be amended to be gluten-free. For example, the French toast was not labelled gluten-free, but I'd had gluten-free bread multiple days before that, and so I asked once and they were able to do that for me for the rest of the trip by checking with the chef. It is good to note that 2 of the bars are serve yourself though, so the pastries, which sadly didn't have a lot of gluten-free options, and the fresh cakes and desserts, plus the make your own bagel counter is self-serve as well, and they do gluten-free bagels. Hot off the press is the sandwich shop, and this was amazing for gluten-free sandwiches. It was always served on white bread, which I loved, and it honestly tasted incredible. We had to stop ourselves getting these morning, noon and night. Which reminds me to say, the Galley is not just for breakfast, you can also eat lunch and dinner here, and it's the same kind of situation with gluten-free. Most things are labelled. If they're not, double check, and they most likely will be able to accommodate it for you. So this is what our breakfast looked like most mornings. The only thing on this plate that's not gluten-free are the hash browns and sausages that James got by mistake. But he doesn't have an allergy, so no big deal. All of what he's eating here, however, is gluten-free. Starting on the left, this is from the make your own bagel place. The middle is hot off the press, and the third is like the generic American diner. I can safely say I had an omelette every single day of this trip. Ordering room service breakfast is in my other vlog video, but it's amazing because you can use the app to detail any allergy that you have, so even room service is safe. This was a brilliant breakfast. As you can see, we have some blueberry muffins, which you can get on room service, or you can also go to the pastry bar on the main deck. Sadly, the ones I'm showing are not gluten-free, but they do have gluten-free cookies and muffins. When we went, we would ask behind the bar and they would make sure that they had some stored at the back. Now on to dinner. We ate at Razzle Dazzle, which I was really excited for because I know that they have a secret menu. One of the few items on the secret menu is this incredible butter chicken curry. It was gluten-free and it was gorgeous. Also, these chips are gluten-free plus the tater tots. This was a really good meal. They didn't have any desserts though. Moving on to somewhere that does though, Pink Agave. Speaking technically, this was the best restaurant for gluten-free because 95% of the menu is naturally gluten-free anyway. You can choose as many plates as you want, and honestly, they were all so good. This is what we got for dessert too, and as I say, there aren't loads of gluten-free desserts on the ship, so it was nice to have this as a treat. Next, we visited the Wake, which is maybe the fanciest restaurant and honestly one of my favourites of the entire trip. I was a bit nervous because not a lot of the menu said that it was gluten-free, but we spoke to our waiter who was incredible, and he spoke to the chef and made us all of this, confirming that it was coeliac safe. Another restaurant I was a bit concerned about was the Italian Extra Virgin. However, there was no need for me to be worried. We had an incredible sharing board and then gluten-free pasta. They can only do gluten-free as macaroni, but I'll let them off because they make the best affogato. I don't like coffee, but James said that this was one of the best desserts he's ever had. Now, the test kitchen was hands down the coolest dining experience I have been to so far. I go into a bit more detail about this experience again on my actual vlog, but I'm going to show you all the food in detail here. You have a set menu when you come here, but obviously they always ask for allergens. It seemed that every single restaurant also always had gluten-free bread, so I never felt like I was missing out having that on the side. When you dine in at the test kitchen, you can accompany your meal with either 6 glasses of wine, beer, cocktails or non-alcoholic that are meant to pair perfectly with the food. As for snacking and lunches throughout the day, we would go to places like the Dock House and order their small plates, and we were addicted to sushi this entire trip. You can pick boxes up of it in the Galley, but make sure that you speak to the chef because not all of the boxes are gluten-free. Then you also need separate gluten-free soy sauce, which they do have, but you need to ask for. The thing that I loved most about our room was that we were directly above the pizza place where they do, yes, gluten-free pizza bases. I'm not sure if you can tell by the amount of videos, but we went here a lot. And that brings us to the end of the video. Overall, I was genuinely really impressed with the food that was on Virgin for gluten-free and catering for allergies. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy your future trip.